Hey, Shalom, everyone. This is your brother Danyala, aka the Copper Color Powhatan, and I am making this video for my people out there, the true aboriginals, the aborigines of this landmass over here that we call the Americas. North, South, Central, even the islands. These people are the so-called Negroes of the Americas. Whether you're a black Jamaican, Haitian, Guyanan, whatever the hell they call you, black Brazilian, black Mexican, African American, Dominican, Puerto Rican, and even the ones who are mixed breeds. And I don't mean to say that in a derogatory way. That's just the only way I can express it at the moment. So that means, people who do have so-called American Negro in them, whether that Negro is from Brazil, any parts of the Americas, which includes a lot of the Hispanic races and even the Native Americans of North America. So we are really the Israelites. I just want to put that out there, okay? We are the people of the book. That book is our history before we became destroyed as a people and scattered and become, before we became all these tribes of the Americas. This video is for you guys. Now, this video is dealing with survival, okay? Because, and bear with me, I'm a little congested nasally, and you may hear me, I may pause the video, you may hear me cough, clear my throat, my nose, whatever. I want to apologize about that up front. But anyways, this video is for our people, okay? On how to survive, what we need to do to prepare ourselves for the future. I'm going to critique this guy's video because he gives out a lot of bad information. But at the same time, he does give out some good information. Now, his video is about 22 minutes long. Of course, we'll be critiquing it and stopping it, because I'm going to address a lot of things that he says in it. It's probably going to be about like an hour long. So brace yourself if you want to get popcorn, stuff like that, something to eat, something to snack on while listening. Also bring out your notebook and, write some of these things down. Okay? So, like I said, things are getting bad, especially here in the Americas, okay? As you see, our brothers and sisters down in Venezuela, they have it bad right now. And the reason why they are doing so awful right now is because a lot of them didn't have survival skills. They relied too much on their government. And I don't know if it's because how the government was set up, because it was basically like social, it was like not communism, but like socialism down there, to basically where the government controlled all the funds. And, it wasn't a capitalistic society to where, hey, you can step on another man's throat to make a come up. I believe in socialism, and even, and even communism to a certain extent. I think it's better for the people, to be honest, to have everybody on an equal playing field, or have it more equal than not. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, they depended too much on their country, their government, and society. Let me just put it like that. And that's the same problem that we have in a lot of countries, because at one time, Venezuela was one of the richest countries in the Americas. But now look at them. I mean, they're struggling to survive. They're pillaging, they're killing each other. They're fleeing to different countries just to survive, and I feel bad for them because of that. But see, if these people knew how to survive in their natural surroundings, they wouldn't be going through what they're going through right now. They wouldn't know how to survive, because Venezuela is very rich in resources, whether it's natural resources that's used for fuel or even food. Because I'm sure there's people out there who've been poor their whole lives, and they were probably bums and lived on the outskirts and had to know how to forage, had to know how to farm, had to know how to hunt. And they're probably doing well right now, away from the cities. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of stuff we need to learn here, because I can tell you this. I can guarantee you this. One day it will be as bad as Venezuela here in the United States. I mean, look at it. It's been over a month since the federal government has shut down, the longest in the United States history. That's unprecedented. You know what I'm saying? Like, this has never happened before. The last time we had a federal government shutdown, I believe, was back in 2012. I believe it was 2012. I can't remember. But I believe the government was only shut down for like a week or a week and a half. Wasn't that long. People were still getting their paychecks, stuff like that. With this one, there is no hope in sight. Like, we don't see an end in sight because Trump is not getting his way. Congress act like their hands are tied and they can't do shit about it. And people are going unpaid. You know, I work for the city, which is an offshoot of the federal government. You know what I'm saying? It goes from federal government. Okay, so this is how it goes. The city government gets its funding, of course, from the tax dollars collected by the citizens of that city. But then it goes up to also, they get their funding from the state. Now, that also goes for counties too. So cities and counties both get their funding from the state. Cities, most of the time, do not get their funding from the counties. The counties are for people who don't necessarily live in towns, or they live in very, very small towns that don't even have names. You know what I'm saying? So counties just cover everyone in those surrounding areas. So, for example, here in Columbus, we have a bunch of little small suburbs of Columbus. Some of them don't even have town halls. You know what I'm saying? They're just like little communities or townships or whatever. And they get their funding also from the state, but they're covered by the county. All these cities around the suburbs of Columbus takes up most of Franklin County, but all the other little small towns in it, they're also under Franklin County. So they also get that funding from it makes it less difficult, shall I say. Anyways, so when it comes to funding, they belong to some group. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times when they get a ticket out in a small suburb outside of Columbus, they will have to go down to Franklin County courts, which is here in Columbus. So that's who they report to, basically. Anyone who's in that county, they go to that major city. It's the same thing with Cincinnati. All the suburbs around there, they have to report to that county court, which is usually in Cincinnati or whatever big city is near that area. So counties just connect smaller towns to the bigger cities that are in that area. Anyways, so cities and counties, they get their funding from the state. The state, they get their funding also from the citizens that live in that state, but also they get money from federal government, okay? And federal government, they get their money from the cities, from the states, you know, population and stuff. So anyways, let me drink my water real quick. My throat's kind of dry. So with that being said, my job is kind of an offshoot of, it is the offshoot of the government. It really is. And I know a lot of people are saying, like, you know, it doesn't affect everyone. Yeah, it does. This affects everyone who is a United States citizen who lives within the United States. Even if you don't have a federal job, even if you aren't receiving, government assistance, which comes from the city, state, and then federal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're still gonna feel the effects, because some people, they're retired. A lot of people on fixed incomes, and their social security checks are hemmed up right now. There's a lot of people who aren't getting social security. My grandfather being one of them, my dad being another one. My fiance's father being another one. He's a retired military vet. He's not getting money. You know, people who are in the military aren't getting money. TSA aren't being paid. Uh, the feds, they're not being paid. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people who are not being paid. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the postal service people, they're still being paid because we have to keep mail going. But even the average citizen, you know, our income tax, that comes from, you have a state income tax and you also have a federal income tax. We're not going to be getting, and the federal income tax is usually the biggest one you're going to get, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of us aren't going to be seeing those checks anytime soon because the federal government is shut down. So see, everyone is going to be affected in some way, whether you work or if you don't work and you get like some type of government assistance. You know what I'm saying? Even people who work at nonprofits, a lot of nonprofits get their money from people and also from the government. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them are getting money to help homeless people and needy people. You know what I'm saying? So we're all going to feel it in some type of way. So don't think that this isn't going to affect you. You know, I seriously see that even if this ends tomorrow, even if the government shutdown ends tomorrow, I still see this country just steadily heading down the drain. You know what I'm saying? And there will be one day when I think everything will collapse, and that's when, you know, the shit's gonna hit the fan, and there's gonna be a lot of people out here that don't have any type of survival skills that are gonna be left with their hands out, you know, begging and needing help and not knowing how to survive. It's luckily some of those people will know people like me and other people who are preparing for this. You know what I'm saying? But I want to say this first of all. The first step that I'm going to give you, the first tool that I'm going to give my brothers and sisters is to have a real relationship with the Most High. Because you are a son or daughter of the Most High. If you are a so-called Negro or any type of indigenous persons to the Americas, if your father's father, if your forefathers on your father line are any type of American Negro or indigenous, you know what I'm saying? So we are the people, you know, there's certain things we have to do to be in the good favor of the Most High, which keep his law, statutes, commandments, you know, have faith and good works, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we have to do, you know what I'm saying? That's the first step. But along with that comes wisdom, because the Most High will provide for us. We know that in the last days that the Most High will provide for us. We know that in the book of Isaiah, when it talks about us being in the wilderness, that the Most High will provide for us. But before we get to the wilderness, before, you know, Hamashiach pleads with us face to face, there will be a time where we're going to have to escape this place. We're going to have to fight. We're going to have to kill. We're going to be killed. We're going to have to survive. You know, it's only until that gathering that the Most High will just lead us to where we need to go. You know what I'm saying? But before then, we have to stay strong in the faith, and we have to have skills and use wisdom. And this is why I'm showing you guys this, to use wisdom, okay? So anyways, let's get into this video, because I probably spent like 10 minutes talking to you guys about that. But, you know, what sparked me to make this video was that the other day I was watching this video with this sister from New York. I think she's from New York, New Jersey. She had one of those accents. And she was talking about how the food stamps is basically ending. You know, there's going to be no more food stamps. And I do believe that Trump is going to, he's going to get his second term in office. I believe that's going to happen. That's usually how it happens. No matter how much we hate the presidents, they usually get a second term. And I just think that he's only going to make things worse. See, I believe with Barack Obama, he was a president that everybody was supposed to love, while Trump is this evil guy who everybody's supposed to hate. He's supposed to do everything wrong, and he's going to be the destruction of this country. That's what I believe. But it's all a game. We know that they're all put in place, and they're being pulled. They have strings being pulled by their puppet masters. This is all a game. It really is for them. You know, all this been planned years ago. years ago, before some of you guys were even alive. You know what I'm saying? So, we just have to use wisdom. Point blank period. We have to use wisdom. But I was watching a sister's video, and she was talking about how food stamps is ending. And, she was telling people basically not to flip their food stamps. Because you know how people like to go out there, they want to get their hair done, they want to go to the club, they want to get new clothes. So they will sell their food stamps for actual money. And she's saying, like, no, people do not do that. What you need to do is you need to buy food, stock up, build yourself a pantry. Build yourself a storehouse. And ration and know how to, turn $5 into a meal that can feed 8 people. And I agree with her on that. But, I dropped a little wisdom in her comment section telling her that she needs to prep. She needs to learn, and prep her family for what's to come. Get some skills, survival skills, okay? And that's basically what I'm going to be doing here with this video. So I found, actually, my fiance shared this video with me because she told me about it because, of course, we're prepping, We're using wisdom. And she told me about this video. I was like, wow, this dude is giving off some bad information, And we're going to address that as we get into the video. So anyways, there it goes.
With us being in the longest government shutdown in the history of the United States, these times really bring the awareness that rough times are truly ahead. Whether it starts from economic collapse, war, an EMP, a health epidemic, natural disaster, the rapture of the church, or something else.
Rapture of the church, guys. Oh, man. That's funny. The rapture is not what... the rapture isn't even mentioned in the Bible, but the people who will disappear will be people who are killed. Because you know how they have these television shows of, the good innocent people are the ones, the true of heart are the ones who get taken up and they just disappear. No. Actually, the ones who are going to be left behind, if you read the scriptures, are going to be the ones who are righteous, who keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, who are good. We're going to be the ones who's going to be left to this earth, the real good people. The rest of them are going to be destroyed, so it's the opposite, But of course, these are white people, foreigners trying to break down our book, our codified book, you know what I'm saying?
Else entirely. That is beyond my knowledge.
But this is a brother making this video, by the way. He's black.
Just know, without a shadow of a doubt, that it's coming. I speak about this often in my videos, and you can go to many other channels on YouTube that speak about this as well. But while we are so great at sounding the alarm, I don't think we do a great job in helping everyone know what they can and should do to prepare themselves. So I want to take this opportunity to give you some tips and strategies on what you can do to prepare for the coming world reset.
Now, I do not, I'm in no way saying that this guy is terrible and that he doesn't have any gems in there. I do agree with some of the things he says, but I'm going to refute some of the bad things that he says, because some of the tips he says are actually pretty good, but they're only good for a certain situation.
I hope this blesses you. Let's begin. Now let me just start by saying that all the prepping in the world means nothing if you do not have your faith secure in Yahshua the Messiah. If you are new to my channel,
I'm glad that he starts off like this. Now, I believe this guy's a Christian. He's not a brother who knows his true identity, but I'm glad that he has faith in Yahshua. But I hate the fact that he puts Yahshua, Yahushua, Jesus over the Father. Our Elohim, Yahweh, Yahuwah, however you want to pronounce his name. I hate how he does that. He does shout him out in, but I'm like, y'all put Hamashiach up in the most highest place. And he even tell you guys, I believe it's in the book of Matthew. I can't remember where it is exactly. But he even tells us not to put him, before the Most High. You're not supposed to have anyone above the Most High. Remember in the book of Matthew and Mark, I actually have it on the back of my hoodie. I'm about to grab it for you guys real quick. It's right over here. Grab it for you guys real quick. You can find this in the book of Mark and also in the book of Matthew, but I think the one I have right here, it's on my hoodie that their sister made. I'm gonna give her a shout out. Her name is Nona Star, I believe. You can find her on Facebook. She makes Hebrew Israelite attire. But this is Matthew 19:17, and it says, now mind you, this is when Jesus, he's doing miracles, all this stuff, and a man comes up to him, say, basically that, oh my God, you're good, you're good. And this is what Yahushua, Yehoshua, Jesus says to him. So this is Matthew 19:17. And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is Yah. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. So there you go. Keep the commandments, which is the will of the Father. So he esteems the Most High, the Creator, our Father, over himself. So we got to do the same thing.
In English, his name is transliterated to Jesus Christ. If you are not a born-again believer and have not surrendered to the will of Elohim, God, then you are in store for problems. No matter how much you have prepared, the only true solution to what's coming is belief in Yahshua, making sure you truly know him and he knows you, and making sure your faith in him is not lukewarm. My channel and website are dedicated to assisting you with the understanding of all this. He is the only answer, so you must make this your number one priority. You must be a believer in Yahshua. There is no prepping and preparing without him. If you are a believer, then you should have no fear. Just believe. If you are still on the fence with him, you should have fear. It's very simple. Stop being on the fence and commit your life to him. Now, while I'm very strong in my faith and belief in him, I also believe in being prepared for anything. So there are things that should be done. I know we all have lives that we are living, and it sometimes can be very difficult to prepare for what's coming, while also keeping your head above water today in the present. Because I understand this, I won't be giving you strategies that the everyday person cannot do. I'm the everyday person, so I will only tell you things that I do myself. So let's get this out the way. Prepping is not about saving money. Don't think about saving money for this situation. Your money will not save you. I repeat, your money will not save you. Whenever the major problems occur, regardless of what it is, the United States economy will collapse, and that includes with it the United States currency, the dollar. We are in too much debt, and the Fed has printed way too much money since the Great Recession in 2008. Your money will hyperinflate. What I mean by that is everything will cost drastically more. Imagine a loaf of bread, if you can find it, costing $30 or more. If you don't fully understand or believe this could happen, look into what is happening in Venezuela as we speak. In November of last year, 2018, Venezuela's annual inflation rate is 830,000%.
See, this is what I was talking about. Our brothers and sisters in Venezuela, they would do so much better if they just said fuck fuck society and have survival skills and survive in the wild. You know what I'm saying?
IMF projects that in 2019, that rate will be over 1,000,000%. I know, it sounds crazy. Their currency, which is called the Bolivar, is basically useless. Let me help you picture it. A chicken that would cost $2.22 in US dollars will cost 14.6 million bolivars. One roll of toilet paper, which would cost 40 cents in US currency, will be 2.6 million bolivars. This is a change that has happened over just 2 years since their economic collapse. In 2015, 15 US dollars would have gotten you 100 Venezuela bolivars. Now, 1 US dollar would give you 6.5 million bolivars. Their money has no buying power. Their currency is useless. Now, this is just a dry run of what will happen with the United States dollar.
See, and this picture right here epitomizes the issue with what's going on in Venezuela. Why people are starving and dying and killing and looting down there. Because they have no survival skills. You see what they're fighting over? You see what they're looking for when they're looting, when they're buying, all this other stuff. I'm not saying that these people are criminals. They're simply trying to survive. But do you see? She's depending on this pan, this this bag of pan, which is really like cornmeal or corn flour. They're surviving on this instead of going out into probably just a mile outside the city. You'll find banana trees. You'll find coconut trees. You can find all types of wild edibles, but you're staying in this city, this overcrowded city with a bunch of hungry, desperate, starving people when you could be out there in a lush rainforest. Now, I'm not saying that you're just going to step right out into the wild and you're going to find something just like that. But if you can identify it, you can. You can. I mean, seriously, there are books on Amazon that are under $20 that you can buy. Very good books, that display hundreds of different wild edibles specific to your location. You just gotta look for books for your location. There's books out there. If you live in the United States, there are books out here that cover the entirety of the United States of wild edibles that you can find, that you can forage. And that's one skill that we really need to have, is to forage, to identify wild edibles, how to gather it, how to prep it to eat. That's what we need to do. And see, I've always had a natural liking to this type of stuff because I always knew that was necessary. I was never really a outdoors person in the sense of like I love going hiking. I would go hiking every weekend. No, that wasn't me. I did love going camping. I did love playing outside. I did love taking strolls through the woods. But when I was a little kid, I was never like a survival type guy. But I did have some fantasies when I was a child, though. I've always had a fantasy of being, on a deserted island trying to survive and stuff like that. So I do play some games like that too. But one of my favorite shows growing up when I was in, I think high school is when the show came out. Probably like when I was in 9th grade. Was the show Survivor Man. That was my all-time favorite survival show. But I also watched shows like Bear Grylls, which was super fucking fake. I hated that show, to be honest. Dual Survival. The Canterbury guy, he's a family member of one of my teachers here in Ohio. What else? Naked and Afraid. I watched that. I watch a lot of survival shows. That's just me. There's also this one documentary of this guy trying to survive. He's like a British guy trying to survive in the Canadian outback. And he does terribly. He loses I think close to 20 pounds, whatever. And he loses it. He gives up. I think he does a 30-day challenge and ends up failing. He just couldn't take it anymore. But, I've always liked those type of things. So right now, me prepping and learning these skills and stuff like that, it's definitely something I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't see it as being something tedious and something that I'm not interested in. It's because it is. It's something that I'm very, very interested in. And we should watch shows like that. Survivor Man, even Bear Grylls, because they give good advice, even though it's phony. Dual Survivor. Even watching, Naked and Afraid. I hate the naked part, but you can actually see real scenarios and how people can possibly survive in certain places. But that's one thing that we need to learn how to do, is how to not only forage wild edibles, but also learn agriculture and how to grow our own foods. You can't just throw a seed in any plot and think that's going to grow. You have to know the soil, the climate, what it needs, how much sunlight, the temp, all that. There's a lot that goes into it. My mom, she has gardens. Her backyard, she has these big old plots of gardens in her backyard. So I'm learning from her how to grow. What I'm saying? I even have a terrarium here at my house where I'm growing stuff. So that's a good skill to have. But also I have a book. It's called wild edibles, and basically it covers all the United States. How to identify what is good to eat, what the poisonous plants that are similar to it. It tells you the difference between it. It tells you how to prep the food, how to harvest the food, the different uses of the food or the plants. You know what I'm saying? So much. You don't have to sit here and rely on, manufactured food. You don't have to sit here and rely on other people. You can go out here literally to the wild and identify if that mushroom is good to eat or if it's poisonous. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely people, definitely buy those type of books. Buy those type of books because you never know. You never know when you may have to use it. And with food stamps getting as low as they are, with food stamps potentially being cut off forever, people are going to get desperate out here. Because remember, a lot of these people who are on food stamps are people who can't even afford to buy food in the first place. A bunch of them aren't lazy people. Sure, you have lazy people who are on food stamps, but a lot of them actually need it. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, these people have very little survival skills. And if they did, just like all people, I'm not saying that it's just Venezuela, but most of modern society don't have any real survival skills. And we need to learn how to get back to it, especially as Aboriginal people. These are our lands. So we need to know how to survive in our own lands. Okay? Anyways, let's continue.
Dollar. I've spoken about this in other videos that will be linked in the description of this video. I've also put them in a playlist for you so you can understand why I say all of this. But this is what will happen to the United States dollar, and it will affect every other currency in the world as well. So don't think that just because you're not in the United States, it will not affect you. You are incorrect. It will affect everyone. Some countries worse than others, that's all. The countries that have been moving away from the dollar will be better positioned to handle what's coming than all the other countries that are dependent upon it. But everyone on this earth will be affected. My point to you is that your money will not mean a thing. Saving for the storm in United States dollars will not mean anything. If your money is held in banks, you will never see it anyway. If the bank goes down, which a majority of them will, they will keep your money. I always use a saying that you should remember. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. If you want to understand more on your own, research bank runs and what happens in these type of situations. Anyways, saving money is not your answer. This should make many of you feel a little relieved. Because if you're like me, you're probably saying, good, because I don't have any money to save anyway. Now, if you do have money and assets, you should buy gold and silver. This is the only thing that will always have some type of value. Scripture tells us that in the end times, people will throw their gold in the streets. But if you...
So see, he just cut his own self. Sorry, I'm over here snacking on some nuts. But he cut his own self. Because I agree with what he said initially, that money will mean absolutely nothing. It will mean absolutely nothing when society drops, because your dollar is backed on absolutely a lot of debt. They say that it's backed on nothing, but it's backed on debt. Those are little debt notes that you're holding in your pocket, or even stored as credit on your accounts, But him saying that you should also have gold too, he just read a scripture that just killed everything he says. He's saying that you should collect gold, but then he's reading a scripture saying that basically in the end times, people are going to be throwing their gold in the street because their gold and silver in the street because it's going to be useless. It's going to be pointless to have it because you won't be able to buy shit. If there's nothing to be sold, how can you buy it? Sure, I got here and I kill a deer, and I'm going to, in a situation to where I got to feed my family and others, my loved ones, in a situation where society collapsed, I'm going to sell you a piece of that deer for gold. What am I going to do with that gold? Most people at that time, when they're starving and there's nothing else out there, and money and gold has no buying power, who's going to want gold? No one. No one. You may collect it, but you definitely won't be able to use it as a bargaining tool. It's going to be very hard to get rid of that. So I disagree with him on this. You should not buy gold. Turn that money into something that you can use long term. Turn that money into something that can be useful. Okay? Not just hang on to gold, because that's just opportunities wasted. You just turned your opportunities into something that may never ever be used again. You see what I'm saying? Because I can tell you at that time, tools, food, water, that's going to be the new money in times that he's talking about. That's going to be the new bargaining chips. All those things are useful. Gold and silver will be absolutely useful in Venezuela right now. That gold will be there's other countries around it, but say if all over the world, all society collapsed, that gold is useless until there's a system that builds back up similar to how we have things today. But in a survival situation, that gold is absolutely useless. You might as well melt that gold down and turn to cups, pots, or something like that. Because trying to use it as something you can buy with, no. Or to barter with, no. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Anyways.
If you have money, I would always own precious metals. Now, for people who question about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, yes, I do believe that this...
I'm going to skip through this because Bitcoin is useless. He says that you should have Bitcoin, but then he also talks about how, I can't remember, but basically Bitcoin is useless. A lot of people have been talking about Bitcoin over the past few years that it's basically dying. It is dying. It is really dying. So I don't see the point in having Bitcoin at all.
Information. If you want to invest in things, the best things for you to invest in and have are things that can be bartered and traded.
Exactly. So this is why I believe that you shouldn't have gold, because at a time in Venezuela, gold has very, very little value. I'm not going to say it has no value at all, because that gold is worth more than their dollars at this moment. But I can guarantee you that people will trade their gold. A gold piece that's probably worth like $100 in U.S. money for something, for a meal that could feed their like 5 chickens. I'm sure they would rather trade that in a heartbeat to help their aching stomachs and the aching bellies of their family. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that gold has little power in situations like Venezuela or worse.
For example, toilet paper will be an extreme blessing for someone that did not properly prepare. And it may be that the toilet...
See, I don't agree with this. Why does he think that this is something valuable? When you're in a situation where you're desperate, you won't just be like, oh, I wish I had toilet paper right now. You know what your ass is going to do? You're going to go out there and get a leaf and wipe your ass. You're going to go out there and find something to wipe your ass with. I can tell you that I bet money people in Venezuela who can't wipe their ass, I bet money they're using a cloth and washing it off and then reusing it. Nothing wrong with that. So this is absolutely useless. Who thinks... Yeah. I don't agree with this being precious. I think he sees this as being precious. I don't. Because one day this will run out and he doesn't know how to make it. I assume that he doesn't know how to make toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? So he's more than likely going to do what he should be doing in the first place. Spending his money. See, the reason why I'm saying this is useless, because he could be spending his money on non-perishables. This money that he's using on toilet paper could be used on non-perishables, machetes, educational books on how to survive, stuff like that. And he can worry about wiping his ass with leaves, because those things always come. We always have leaves. Throughout all year, there are leaves. Even when they fall off the tree, there are leaves, you know. Even out here where it's snowing right now, we have about like 3 inches of snow on the ground right now. And up under all that snow are leaves that you can literally take from up under there, warm it up, and put it in a warm environment, and they will start to become flexible again. They won't be super brittle. And you can literally wipe your ass with it. So, you know, I hate to be vulgar and all that, but I'm just keeping it real with you guys. I don't see why he thinks this is a commodity. It's not.
paper you saved may help fill another need you did not prepare for. My point is that supplies are always good to have, and they may end up being your currency in the future. Now let me explain the full situation. When this worldwide reset happens, everything changes. The old system goes away, and a new system is born from the ashes. This is why you always see the symbol of the phoenix. This is why they constantly place these words in movies.
Everything they built will fall! And from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one!
What I'm trying to explain is the same rules that you apply today won't necessarily carry over when the system collapses. And just because the system collapses doesn't mean that the Great Tribulation has started. I know many people aren't preparing because they feel when this all happens, they will be raptured before trouble really hits.
Oh, poor Christians. He doesn't understand that Jacob's trouble has already started, that the tribulations has already begun. You know, we're in the birth pains. We're at the beginning of the birth pains part, and he thinks that we're not. But, oh well. I just wanted to say that if you read scripture, you will know that we're not at we are not before tribulation. We are not before Jacob's trouble. We are not before the birth pains that the scripture speaks of. We are actually in those stages right now. And we may not be in the worst stages of it, but we are definitely in those stages. It may be the beginning of the stages. Who knows? But we're definitely in it. And we can tell by the signs of the seasons. We can tell by all that. We don't know when Hamashiach is going to return, but we can tell that he may be arriving soon based on the seasons, you know, and that's talking about everything that happens around us. You know, the rumors of wars, you know, earthquakes in diverse places. Come on, guys. We're in it. I don't know what he's thinking. And this whole idea that we're going to be, that the good people aren't going to experience this at all, you know, yeah, the scripture says that some of us, you know, won't even taste death, you know, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be raptured up, you know what I'm saying, at all. That doesn't mean that you're going to be raptured up and you're not going to experience any of this bad stuff happening. You know, that's a fantasy that these churches love to push out, but that's not reality.
This could be true, but it also could not be true. You should be prepared for anything. There is nothing worse than hearing your children are hungry, and you could have done something to prepare for it, but you chose not to.
Yeah, you chose to buy gold and toilet paper instead. I'm just playing. I'm up here being bad.
Understand, this type of collapse will be bad and unpredictable because it will affect everyone. There are people that have never
And you know, little fun fact: you can actually eat dandelions. Well, you don't want to eat the one like this. It's kind of too late. But you can eat the leaves that are connected to dandelions. You can actually eat the whole thing if you want. You can even make jam and all types of stuff out of the oils and the juices that come out of dandelions. So you can actually eat them, but do not eat on people's lawns. The reason why I say that, you won't go out to the wild and eat it, because usually typically in people's lawns they use like some type of herbicide, well, pesticides, weed killers, stuff like that, which can leave lasting effects on you. You know, it can cause mental issues and even physical issues too. You know, because that shit is poisonous.
There are people that have never experienced pain and financial struggles before. When it affects them, this is where you will see chaos and havoc. This is where panic happens. Riots in the streets. Things like this.
And it's so true, because you're starting to see it right now with these white people who are used to having money, you know, and not used to being put in desperate situations. I was watching CNN the other day with my fiance, and we were just looking at all these upper middle class white people who were just desperate and hurt and scared because they're not being paid their good money that they're used to. Mortgage is due, you know, all their bills are due. They don't have any food in their house. They run out of money. There was a guy that was on there like, I ran out of money today. You know what I'm saying? You see these people out in California losing their homes and how desperate they are. These rich people they don't go days being hungry. But us people who were brought up, especially us in the hood, who were brought up and we went days without eating because we were, you know, poor and stuff like that, we're going to have better chances. Especially these homeless people out here. They have more survival skills than the average person. Seriously.
This video is not about prepping to make it through the Great Tribulation. What I am about to tell you is advice to help get you through at least the first 6 months when disaster strikes. This is the mindset I have.
Man. Because of his advice, you may not even make it through the first 6 months. I'm just being honest. And I'm going to explain why.
I don't want any of you to be dependent on the system to survive.
Exactly.
There is a strong majority of people in this
I agree with him saying that.
world that think that there are only clear blue skies ahead. They think that things are only going to get better, that there are no problems ahead. They are not planning and preparing at all. When the collapse happens, they will be the first ones to run to the stores, run to the banks, fight for food and supplies. What?
That's true. And they will also be raiding your homes. They will also be raiding your homes, guys. They will also be raiding your homes. So they won't just be trying to raid stores and, you know, banks and stuff like that. They will also be trying to get into people's homes. And that's one thing he did not address in his video. And that's the main reason why I'm critiquing his video. You'll see.
What happens is that the government will step in to help this majority. Through organizations like FEMA or the United Nations, they will come in to be everyone's savior. You then give up your rights and ability to take care of yourself and your family. This is when people go to FEMA camps and families get separated. This is what you do not want to happen. I do not want any of you to be dependent upon the government for your relief. This is my mindset.
See, I agree with him 100%. You do not want to rely. See, this is why it's good to prep yourself. This is why it's good to prep your family. This is why it's good to have survival skills, because you will not have to rely on anyone but the Most High and the wisdom that He has bestowed upon you. Okay? So, because if you don't, you will be a victim of FEMA and all that other shit. You're gonna, you're gonna be starving and hungry. Like, I'm hungry. Well, FEMA, they're promised to give us shelter and homes. Now, next thing you know, you're in a fucking concentration camp. You're being killed. You're being trapped in there. They won't let you out. You have no freedom. Next thing you know, you're in a sci-fi. You're living out a science fiction movie. You know what I'm saying? One of those dystopian science fiction movies, futuristic movies where, the wars have happened, the government came along and gathered up, a few thousand people, put them in internment camps, and now those people can't leave those camps, and outside the world, they make you believe that the outside of those walls is destroyed, but really it's, a bunch of nature out there. And the rich people who own that government are enjoying and reaping the fruits of the nature outside, while the dependent people are inside, being slaves and all that shit. So I agree with him. You shouldn't rely on society at all. You should have your survival skills yourself.
The safest.
Now, he's about to give some very bad advice, and this is where I really don't agree with him.
I don't want any of you to be dependent upon the government for your relief. This is my mindset. The safest place to be is in your homes and not to leave them.
Wrong. That's a very bad idea. Why? Because of what he said previously. There will be people looting. And one of the places you do not want to be is at home. Why? Because your home becomes a target. Once when they loot all these stores and there's no longer supplies in these stores, they're going to start going from house to house, trying to find stuff like, what is that movie, Bird Box or Birdcage, whatever the hell it was, where they were walking around blind. Remember, people kept coming to their house because they were looking for supplies. All these other movies, all these zombie movies, all these post-apocalyptic movies, you always see the same reoccurring theme. People going from houses, salvaging, resources and stuff. So you definitely do not want to stay put at home unless you got like a fucking Home Alone type house. with a Kevin type nigga running around setting up booby traps everywhere. But who would want to live in a house like that? You know what I'm saying? Nobody does. You know what I'm saying? But staying at home, not a good idea unless it is super fortified and no one can get in there. But I can tell you this: the same people that he told you not to rely on are going to be the same people who are going to try to break in your house and put you in internment camps. FEMA, they're going to come through the military. They're going to try to come through, and they're going to be coming house to house, just like they did during Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Harvey, all these other places. They will go door to door to round your asses up. So no, you do not want to be in home. Why? Because one, people are going to try to raid your house. Two, the government is going to try to come and round your ass up. So no, I don't agree with that. You should not stay at home. And this is the reason why I even watched this video, because my girlfriend told me that, yeah, this guy, he said that one of the best things you should do is to stay home. I'm like, oh my God. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. Now, I'm not saying that staying at home is not an option, but I don't think that's the best place to stay, especially if you live in the city. It's not a good place to stay. But if you do have your own property that's not connected to anyone else's home, then yeah. Say if you have a house and you have a fenced-in house, then yeah, you could. Especially if you got land on all four sides of your house. You know, if you have, a very big yard, surrounding your house, then yeah, that can be a good place to hold down. Why? Because you have fencing around your house where people have to climb over. And then also you have distance. You have time to, if someone's coming, if they're hostile, you can shoot their ass down before they get to your doorstep. So it depends on the situation if you're going to stay at home. But for majority of people live in the inner city. They don't have too much yards. They don't have too much space around their house to defend their house properly. But if the government comes through, it doesn't matter because they're going to come in with tanks. They're going to come in with sonar weapons that's going to fucking hit you through walls. You know what I'm saying? With the sound and shit that's going to fuck you up and disable you. So, I don't suggest staying at home. I don't really think that's such a great idea. I think the best idea is to get out into nature and survive out there. Okay? And, this is what I suggest and I recommend everyone to do. And to have one of these for every member in your family. Maybe even two for every member in your family. But at least have one of these for every member in your family. Every person in your family should have, everyone that lives in your household should have a go bag, a bug out bag. Okay? And basically these are bags that has tools for survival, whether it's knives, machetes, axe, shovels, screwdrivers, multi-tools, whatever, different various types of tools, weapons. Also weapons too, whether it's a sword, gun, ammunition, bow and arrows. For example, I make bows and arrows. So if you want to buy, I just only make bows. I don't make arrows anymore. But if you want to make if you want to purchase bows, I make bows. They're handcrafted bows. And I will leave a link to my Facebook page in the description below. But and you can contact me from there. But I practice archery with me and my fiance. We practice archery. A lot of people who have bought our bows are, Hebrew Israelite, from the Hebrew Israelite community, so-called Negroes. They buy it for the exact same reason, to hunt with. My bows you can hunt with. Me and my fiance, we practice archery so that we can get our skills up, so we can hunt deer. The last time I touched a bow before I started practicing lately was when I was in middle school, when I used to go out to camps. We would go out to camps, Camp Wilson, if any of you guys live in Ohio, you know what I'm talking about. We used to go there and we used to practice archery and practice with BB guns. I have guns, I have ammunition, but I also have bows and arrows because I don't know how to make bullets. I don't know how to make guns. So you have to go back to what has been working for thousands of years, and bows and arrows work. You can literally make a bow out of a branch, and string, and you can make an arrow out of a branch, you know what I'm saying? Twigs and stuff, and rocks and feathers and leaves and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's very primitive, but it works. And people have been using it for thousands of years, and they still use it to this day. So, and also fishing. Me and my fiance, we both have fishing poles that goes with our go bags. We have them for our go bags. So we have bows and arrows. We have go bags. Oh, sorry, fishing poles, which are great tools to have for survival. We have our go bags filled with water filtration systems, fire starters, knives. It's still stuff that I'm still buying to put in our bags, but knives. You should have non-perishable foods that come, sealed, or sealed in plastic, or foods that are sealed in cans. We have that. We have medical supplies in our bags. All types of medical supplies for burns, for infections. Antibiotics, for pain, for wrapping up. We got ace bandage. We have slings, splings, whatever the hell they're called. We have scissors, tweezers. We got so much stuff, you know what I'm saying? We got stuff that clots you up just in case if you're bleeding. We got all types of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And these are things that you should have in your medical kit. So we have medical supplies in our go bag, along with food, clothing. And your bug out bag is meant to last you for 72 hours, which is about 3 days. And really what your bug out bag is for is to get you from wherever you're at to your bug out location, whether it's a location that you already have set up with a bunch of supplies, or a location that you're going to turn into your bug out location. Me, like most people, I don't have money to build a bunker or anything like that, or to buy a bunker, nor do I want to live in a bunker. My bug out bag is to get me to the wilderness, to where I can survive on my own. So yeah, and also in my bug out bag we have like one of those space blankets. It's like made out of some type of shiny material, but basically it will keep your ass warm. It's very thin material, but it will keep you warm in cold weather. Also, ponchos, clothes, blankets we have rolled up in our bug out bags. We also have trash bags because you can use that for many things. You can contain things like water, food, whatever. And you can also use it as like a tarp. You can make temporary homes out of it. You can use it as a raincoat. You can do a lot of stuff with trash bags. We also have like ramen, all types of food that can last for a very, 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 very long time. So these are things that need to go into your go bag to get you to wherever you're going to bug out at, you know what I'm saying, and survive. And, that's one good thing to have, is a bug out bag to get you to your location. Now, I do believe in also, stocking your house up, but you cannot depend on your house. If anything, your house should be a location that you come back to salvage from, you know what I'm saying? And even I believe in even having different locations where you put food up, like buy a storage unit. Most people will not go to storage units looking for food. So most people won't even go to storage units looking for food, because they know that most people just keep their furniture in there. You know what I'm saying? That who needs furniture in the wilderness? You know what I'm saying? Most people don't. So I believe that, maybe those are good places where you should keep food at, because most people won't get there. And most of those places are locked up and hard to get into anyways. So if you buy storage units all over the city and put food in there, most people won't be able to get to it, but you or whoever has the keys to those units. Like I said, most people won't even suspect to even go look for food in those units too. So yeah, and also have weapons stashed in different places. You know what I'm saying? But me, I'm planning on surviving in the wild. This is why I'm getting my skills up. This is why I'm buying books to show me what I can eat in the wild. This is why I'm getting good at archery. I'm building my skills with fishing. so that I can know how to survive out there and not be dependent but independent. So anyways, back to what he's saying.
While everyone is running frantic and scared, trying to get supplies, trying to figure out what to do, you should be in your home, locking and securing things down. Things I would not worry about.
What is that going to do you any good? Your security system, it's not going to do you any good after 20 days when the power goes out. When the power goes out, your security system means shit. And even if your security system goes off, all that's going to do is give you a short heads up. You know what I'm saying? Because most security systems let people know that there's something there about 30 feet away, which is kind of too late because somebody can get into your shit in seconds within 30 feet. You know what I'm saying? So, your security system means nothing. You know what I'm saying? When that power goes out or when the government comes a knocking.
Is your rent and your mortgage. When the collapse occurs, these things more than likely will not be major thoughts. Things I would not worry about is your rent and your mortgage. When the collapse occurs, these things more than likely will not be major thoughts. And there would be too much crime for sheriffs to worry about evicting people out of their homes. Wherever you are during the collapse, you should stay. Don't follow the crowds. If you see people running one direction, run in a different one.
I completely agree.
Don't ever follow the crowd. This is how sheep get led to slaughter. So you want to be home and stay there. Now you also don't want everyone...
No, you don't. And he's about to explain why I think that you shouldn't. You know, he's about to talk about lights and stuff like that, which is just a given. You don't do that type shit. But this is why you don't stay home. You don't stay home in hopes that people don't break into your fucking house. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone else knowing that you're there and that you have supplies, because people will rob. This is how sheep get led to slaughter. So you want to be home and stay there. Now you also don't want everyone else knowing that you're there and that you have supplies, because people...
Even if people don't think you're... See, and look, if people think that you're there, whether they think you're there or not, they're still going to come. Because if they don't think you're there, they're still going to come anyways, because they're going to think that that's an easy, easy loot. You know what I'm saying? That they're going to loot your place easily if you're not there. So being at home is not a good idea. It just really isn't for most people.
Will rob you. So what do you need in your home? Let's cover the major needs. You need water. Lots and lots of water. For each person in your home, you should have at least 500 water bottles. That's 500 for each person. We go to Sam's Club and buy our water bottles. In Sam's, you can get a pack of 40 Zephyrhill bottles for about $5 each. You need at least 12 cases per person in your home. This will last you about 6 months if you use 3 bottles per day. So if you have a family of 4, you need 48 cases of water. You don't need to buy this all at once, obviously. Buy 2 at a time or piece it together.
I agree with him. That's what I do. I don't go out here and buy everything at once, unless you have the money, of course. But if you don't buy things, every time when you go to and this is what I want to say, go to places like Dollar Tree. Not all the times do they have the cheapest stuff, because sometimes you can find things cheaper at other stores. For example, a big thing of water, right? At Dollar Tree, everything costs us $1, so it's $1. But at places like Kroger and Walmart, this big old, I think it's like a gallon of water, it costs us like 90-something cents. Sometimes it's like 80-something cents, so it's cheaper at some places. But at Dollar Tree, a lot of things that you will find for like $3 at Kroger, Big Bear, Publix, any places like that, you can find for $1 at Dollar Tree. So shop around, and places like Dollar Tree is very affordable. Most of the stuff in my bug out bag comes from Dollar Tree. You know what I'm saying? Because Dollar Tree is very affordable. Everything in there is $1. You can find tuna, canned tuna, tuna that comes in pouches, sardines, ramen, all types of good stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? Tools, saws, all types of good stuff. But you don't have to buy things all at once. Every time you go into like a Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, Dollar General, Kroger, Walmart, whatever, just buy 1 or 2 things. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday I went into, where did I go? I think I went into Dollar Tree and just bought 2 cans of sardines, and I bought 2 pouches of tuna. 2 cans sardines went in my bag, 2 pouches of tuna went to my fiance's bag. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to buy it all at once, because after a while it's all going to stack up. You know what I'm saying? Like, my bags are brimming right now because I'm filling them up. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you don't have to buy them all at once, but you do want to take things and make this a priority, though. You know, you don't want to sleep on this stuff.
I mean, if you can buy it all at once, you should do so. But the point is, you need the water. Your body can go without food a lot longer than it can go without water. So make this a priority. Even if you don't have the full 12 cases per, the more you have, the better you will be. Water goes first.
Okay.
First in the stores when an emergency strikes. Ask anyone who has prepared for a hurricane or natural disaster. It does take up room, so be mindful of this and find a good place to store them. Water bottles do expire too, so we drink ours and then constantly replace the cases we use. Now, this is for drinking water, which is pretty much a no-brainer. But what...
Okay, now, what I want to say about the water thing is, a good idea to buy water bottles for your house. Like I said, it's cool to build up a store at your house, but also build a go bag too, just in case you have to get the fuck out your house. Because sure, you may hang out at your house for the first few days, but then after that, you know, people may go crazy, start looting, and you may need to get the fuck out your house. And say you may be sleeping when somebody comes and try to loot your house. You gotta get out there real quick. So have your go bags ready. Boom, you're out of there. They can have all that shit. Maybe you can come back at a later date and try to get, you know, your stuff, whatever. But at least you have your go bag and you can go and get going to safety. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool to have that, you know, water at your house. But I would suggest people to, you know, and I also do a lot of shopping on Amazon too. I will recommend people to, you know, go to places like go to Amazon and buy, you know, stuff like Life Straw, for example. These things are pretty damn good. I have a thing called, I think it's called Sawyer or something like that. But these things are pretty good. These can get up to, I think, like a few hundred gallons. I think the Sawyer that I have, which is like it's just like a Life Straw but smaller. Let me see. Life Straw Sawyer. Oops, sorry, I spelled that wrong. Oh, yep, spelled it completely wrong. Okay, see, this is what I have right here. The Sawyer Mini. And it comes with little things like syringes, stuff like that. But these things are real good. These things are absolutely amazing, because what you really should do to survive a situation is, yeah, of course, buy yourself some water bottles and stuff like that. Water that you can carry with you. But it's also a good idea to buy one of these things and to know where your local streams and ponds and stuff like that are. Your streams, lakes, ponds, creeks, all that stuff. Not too far from my house, I have 2 streams, you know, within a mile from my house. So if I were to run out of water here, or if I were to flee from here and I don't have any water on me, well, first of all, I have a bunch of snow around me everywhere, so I can melt that down, run it through this filtration system. Or if I find a creek, I can run that water through this filtration system. I don't have to worry about getting sick. And if you read on here, it says ideal for outdoor recreation, hiking, camping, scouting, domestic and international travel, and emergency preparedness. Sorry. High performance filter fits in the palm of your hand, weighs just 2 ounces, 0.0 micron, absolute hollow fiber, membrane, inline filter. Attaches, see, look at this. This is why I bought this over the Life Straw. Attaches to included drinking pouch, so you can fill this pouch up. You can fill this pouch right here up, which basically acts as a water bottle or a flask or a water pouch or a water bladder, as they will call it back in the day. Sorry. So you can carry around water. Not only can you suck it up and drink it from the stream, but you can pouch it. You know, put it in a pouch. So attaches to the included drinking pouch standard disposable water bottles. So you can even fill up a water bottle, you know, and drink out of it with this straw. You attach this straw to this device and you can drink out of it. Ain't that fucking cool, guys? Hydration packs, or use a straw to drink directly from your water source. It removes 99.99999% of all bacteria such as salmonella, I think that's chloria. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to pronounce that. E. coli. Removes 99.9999% of all protozoa. I can't pronounce that, such as Gandria, Critum, Sporidium. the longest one I don't know how to pronounce, just because I've known about this for a while, man. That sits in that very stagnant water, and people get sick of that shit. Filter. So basically, all the bacteria in water that can make you sick, it removes. You know what I'm saying? It removes most of that stuff. And this filter rated up to 100,000 gallons, included 16-ounce reusable squeeze pouch, 7-inch drinking straw, and cleaning plunger. Guys, 100,000 gallons of water. That's way more water than you would. I mean, seriously, it would take 100,000 gallons. 100,000 gallons. You could possibly, as long as you don't destroy the damn thing, you can use this for the next few years. You don't even have to worry about water. Just find a water source that isn't contaminated by like nuclear waste or anything like that, but just like a stream, a creek, any running water. You're Gucci. You're good. You know what I'm saying? You're good. So that's why I think it's important to know how to find creeks, you know, how to track water, how to locate water, basically is what I'm trying to say, and use water sources. You know what I'm saying? But this is no good to people. Well, I mean, you can still use this in urban environments, but it's not good for people who just strictly want to stay in their homes. But these are good things to have. That's way better than filling up your house or carrying around a bunch of heavy water. Much better. I'm not saying that water bottles are useless, because you can even use them with this. You can use water bottles, yes. And water bottles you can use for a bunch of things, you know what I'm saying? But this, I find these to be much more useful than a water bottle, because I can easily slide this into my go bag. Don't have to worry about filling up my bag, half of my bag full of water bottles. You know what I'm saying? I could carry around one water bottle or two of them and have this thing as my main source, and use my water bottles as emergency if I'm away from a creek or a stream. You know what I'm saying? See, that's wisdom right there, guys. And I want you all to have this type of wisdom. Of course, you know, the government and the people who run the government don't want us to have this type of wisdom, you know. And there's white people out there preparing. There's these white folks out here preparing, and we need to prepare just as good or even better. This is our land that we're on. We need to know this land better than anyone else. Our ancestors lived on this land. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, let me get back to this video.
Many people don't think about.
No, he's gonna talk about having water as toilet water, and basically he talks about how he buys water. These are the water gallons I'm talking about. Shit, my filter can filter more water than he can stack, man. But anyways, so basically he drinks the water and he fills it up with tap water, and he uses that to clean himself with, or will use it to clean himself with.
Because you aren't drinking this water. But this strategy will come in handy. So make sure you apply it. Now that you have water, let's talk about food. This can be difficult because food is expensive and food expires. I'll tell you what I do on a budget. Understand that when all this happens, you are not looking to have 5-course dinners and extravagant meals. You are eating to survive. So to take care of this, particularly on a budget, I buy a lot of ramen noodle packs.
Hell yeah. I got ramen noodle in my go bags. Yup. This is a good thing to stack up. Why? Because their shelf life is very long. I had ramen noodle before that was like 2 years over its expiration date. Guess what? This shit was just as good as any fresh noodle or any noodle that was within its expiration date. You know what I'm saying? So these things last forever.
At Sam's Club, you can buy a pack of 36 for like $4 or $5. I buy them every time I can. This will serve you well in emergencies. People also recommend buying canned tuna, chicken, and beef, but that stuff can be expensive. If you can afford it, you should buy it.
Yeah, I agree with him. You should buy it. It's very affordable. I mean, literally at Kroger, they cost like about, I think, like 70 cents. Sometimes you can find them for even cheaper, you know. So that's not expensive at all. Not expensive at all, in my opinion. You know, you can literally go and take a $10 bill and get like about, 13 of these things. And that's enough. I think that's enough for one person right there. You know what I'm saying? You can even divide that amongst two people. 13 or 14 cans of tuna will last you and that person probably a good while. I mean, really, if you eat 2 cans of tuna a day, that's enough to keep you going. It's a lot of protein in there. You know what I'm saying? 2 cans of tuna, that if you eat 2 a day, that lasts you 7 days right there. You know what I'm saying? So that's good in my opinion.
But ramen noodle packs will do the same thing. I also buy Chef Boyardee cans that are around $1 each.
I think that's funny, him buying Chef Boyardee. He must really like it for him to buy it. Because I don't really see that as something. I mean, sure, it has a lot of carbs because the noodles, and then it does have some beef in there, so it has protein and carbs. But me personally, I don't like Chef Boyardee. And then the only reason why I want to buy them, especially for a go bag, is because the shape is weird. You know what I'm saying? It's very oblong, and they won't fit in your bag too well. I like the flatter cans, like tuna cans or sardine cans, or if you can just get stuff in pouches, those fit even better.
And vegetables and canned beans you can buy for 50 cents at Walmart. Buy oatmeal. Quick 1-minute oatmeal. That will serve you well for breakfast and keep you full. I buy a large pack from Sam's Club for like $7. The art to this is to buy foods that have some shelf life and won't break the bank. I hear people buy actual meats that they keep in the freezer. This may help in the first few days or so, but this is not a long-term solution. When the power goes out, your food will spoil, and using a generator to keep the freezer on is a bad use.
I agree with him. Buying a bunch of meats, that's not good. Unless you have like a generator like he says. And if you keep it down in the basement, people won't know that you have a freezer down there, you know what I'm saying? Because freezers don't give off light until you open it. If you have it in your basement, more than likely people won't see or know that you have but generators, they run out after a while, unless you have one of those generators that you can keep refilling with like some type of fuel or whatever. But even still, you're gonna run out of that fuel one day. So buying meats really isn't too smart unless you know how to really preserve it. The only way you can really preserve meats is by frying it, and it will last much, much longer, or drying it in the sun. But meats are going to be one of the first things that you're going to have to cook if you have them. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't last too long.
Of resources like gas. Buy large bags of sugar, flour, and rice as well.
I don't understand the purpose of this. I guess what I think he's trying to do is still live a comfortable life. He's not really committed to surviving. That's the impression I get from this video, is that he wants to bring all the modern comforts with him into this survival scenario, and that's not going to serve him well. I mean, sure, buying rice is good, but rice spoils pretty easily, especially in humid situations. The sugar, I don't see the point in buying that. Flour, okay, that's cool, but why do you need these things? You need just things that are simple, easy to make, and ready to go. You know what I'm saying? You don't need these things. What are you, baking a cake or something? You know what I'm saying? You plan on celebrating birthdays out here in the wilderness and stuff, or in these survival situations. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't really think that, especially sugar. I don't think the sugar is practical at all. What the fuck you need sugar for? You know what I'm saying? Buy something more useful.
Buy pasta and canned or jarred sauce.
He's just trying to bring the modern comforts with him. That's all I see out that sugar thing. That sugar thing did make me giggle a little bit. I ain't gonna lie.
That will go a long way. The thing about food is paying attention to when these foods will expire. So make sure you have a way of keeping track of this. There are a lot of apps that will allow you to track the expiration of your food. You don't have to break the bank to have food to feed your family. Now what you need to get is a butane stove and the butane fuel cartridges. They look like this. You can buy the stovetop for like $20, and the fuel cartridges come in packs of 4 for like $7 or $8, I believe. Your outdoor grill will only be good for a few days. Remember, you will not have any power, and everything in your fridge and freezer will spoil. Your electric stove will not work, and don't rely on that gas being there for your gas stoves. This little stovetop will allow you to make food every day. For 6 months, you would want at least 100 fuel cartridges. Also think about it. When power goes out and there's no more food, and you're grilling outside, you're giving an invitation to your home for people to come and take your stuff. Now you have food and water. I know most people.
Well, I don't know what world he's living in, but I can tell you this: whether you're cooking inside your house or outside your house, you can smell people cooking. Especially when you're very hungry, you pick up on smells so much easier than you do when you're not hungry. And there's been many times where I have walked past people's house or even driven past people's houses or restaurants, and you can smell the food. So I think that that's kind of pointless, him mentioning that, the grill thing. I think it's kind of pointless. And then you want to be careful cooking inside your house because you don't want all those, you don't want smoke and gases build up in your house. That's not good,
People will tell you to get a generator, and maybe that might be important to you. I own a generator, but during these times, I don't think I would use mine. I don't want people to know I'm home and that I have power and supplies. It's not that you don't want.
Regardless, their curiosity is going to get the best of them, and they're going to try to find out if there's any food in your house, regardless whether they think you're here or not. More than likely, if somebody see a light, if they have common sense, they will rob the place that doesn't have a light on. Why? Because these people, we know that there's people there and they may have guns while this place may be abandoned. You know what I'm saying?
To help people, but
especially in times like this, most places are going to be abandoned, so they'd rather go into a place that doesn't have lights on. So I think he just got to think about this stuff a little bit more.
You draw attention to.
But he just wants to stay home. That's all he wants to do. He just want to be comfortable instead of testing himself and really learning how to survive. Because when his food runs out at his house after 6 months, what is he going to do then? That's one thing that he doesn't touch on in this video, is that what happens after this 6 months? After your food supplies runs out, what happens? What are you going to do? How are you going to survive? He doesn't address that because he can't. He's not even trying to look at that. At least from this video.
To your home, people will come and rob you. And also, you just don't have enough supplies to help everyone. You need to be very careful. So using things like generators, just so you can have lights or keep the fridge and freezer on, is not the best call, in my opinion. This is what the unprepared will do. You don't need power. You only need light to see. So buy yourself some kerosene lamps and kerosene bottles. Buy a lot of wicks, and this is what you will use at night. Buy some candles as well. You can never have enough of these things, and they are not expensive. You can buy the lamp for $5 at Walmart, and the kerosene for $4 a bottle. Buy a bottle every time you go to the store. They will add up quickly.
Also, another good thing to buy other than candles would be those little lights, those LED lights that get very bright. They're very good. Me and my fiance, we used them this past fall for our Feast of Tabernacles. Where basically we stayed in our tent for a whole week. We were in our tent, and we used these little rectangular LED lights that have like a little switch on it, and you can mount them. They have a magnet on the back, so you can attach them to metal. They even have like a little hook thing where you can hook them on top of things or wherever. And those things are bright, and they're still lasting to these days. They're very dim now, but it's been like probably about 3 months since we bought them, and they're still working. All you have to do is just replace the batteries. So what I suggest to people is to buy batteries, but not just any type of batteries. People need to buy. This is what people need to buy, in my opinion. I just ordered another book for my girlfriend, a Wild Edible book. But let me see if I can find it. So anyways, what I suggest people to buy are USB sun panel chargers. Sorry. One of these, they even have cheaper ones that you can get for like $20. Something like this. Where's the one that you can buy this? You can buy, basically, they even have these little handheld ones that you can get. Let me pull it up for you guys real quick. Okay, so I'm back, guys. So this is what I'm talking about right here. This is a solar charger, and basically you can hook up any USB device to it. You can hook up any device that has USB, so you can use your phone. I'm not saying that you're gonna be making phone calls in the wilderness after cell towers go down and power goes down and grid goes down, all that stuff. But you can still use your, oops, just knocked over a bottle. You can still use your phone for useful things. Like your phone has a camera on it. Your phone also has, you can have many different books on your phone that you may want to use. You can even use your phone as a flashlight. There's many useful tools that your phone can, and there's many other things that uses a USB cord to charge, like your camera, for example. You know what I'm saying? Even chargers, like charger packs, you use USB adapter cable cords for that. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many things that you can charge with a USB device. And if you have one of these right here, and this one has a compass on it, if you have one of these, you can keep charging whatever. But most importantly, which I think is very, very dope, guys, is that with this, you can actually charge. They have AA battery chargers that hook up with USB. You know what I'm saying? So you can plug this into that sun panel charger and charge these rechargeable batteries. And you can use these over and over again for whatever, for radios, for CD players, for cameras, for little microwave that you may have that runs off of batteries, or some type of heater, whatever. There's a lot of things out here that use AA batteries that you use in survival situations. You know what I'm saying? You can use it even for the stupidest shit. You know what I'm saying? But also they have these rechargeable batteries that are actually USB batteries that you plug into a USB directly. You know what I'm saying? So all you have to do is just get a USB charger, a connector that you can connect to the panel, and then there you go. So see, look, this comes with the thing. See, so it comes with this. You just plug this into there, boom, and there you go. And you can, every day, most of the days, you will have sun to charge up things. You know what I'm saying? So things like that, you need to buy. Buy stuff like that. Have them in your go bag. These are big enough to go inside your go bags. You know what I'm saying? They have various kinds of these, different prices. They even have the ones that you can roll out, that have more power to it. But look how big these things are. These things can charge your stuff. These things can charge things for you. Sure, it may take a whole day to charge it. Who knows? It may take an hour or two to charge these things. But at least you have this. You know what I'm saying? At least you have these things. Other people won't have these advantages. But these are the things you have to think about. Buying machetes, buying shovels, buying hatchets, axes. You never know when you may use these things. This is why I say that having these skills are better than not having these skills. Learn archery, learn fishing. So when all this stuff runs out, when all your little storehouses run dry, you can survive on your own based off of your wisdom that the Most High has given you. With the skills that you have. So anyways, continue.
Buy some wicks. It's like $5 for $1, I think. This will keep you with light, but will not draw too much attention to you. All your family should sleep in the same room, and away from the window.
So through the rest of this stuff, he talks about things like can openers, having medical kits, soap, stuff like that. Some of these things you don't really need, like soap. You're not gonna be thinking about soap when you're starving. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be thinking about how funky you are. But can openers, that's good to have. Definitely good to have. If you don't have a can opener, at least have a knife. It will dull your blade, but you know. Anyways, let's see what else he has to say.
I also recommend important photos that you may have stored on your phone and computer. You should print them out. We keep all of our memories on our devices. If things ever go dark and there is no power, you may...
If things ever go dark, get you one of these. Get you one of these, man. You can keep looking at your little digital photos all you want, you know? See, this is how I'm thinking. I'm thinking of, how are we going to do things when we're on our own? When we can't rely on shit, or when we have to be on the run, we have to be on the move. He's thinking about having all his comforts with him. He's thinking about staying comfortable in a desperate situation with a bunch of desperate people around him. Me, I want to get away from everything. I think that's very important to have a contingency plan or a bug out plan, an exit plan. So if things were to happen, y'all know how to meet up, you know where to go, how long to wait, blah, 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 what to get, you know what I'm saying? That's what I believe in. Getting away from the cities, going into the wilderness, learning how to survive out in the wilderness. That's what I believe in. I don't believe in staying at home. Sure, you want to be comfortable and stuff like that, and you can bring stuff with you. If I have the situation, see, this is the thing. I have a tent. I think it's a 14-person tent, right? It's beautiful. It can house a bunch of people. I have it in the back of my car. So if I were to ever be in a situation to where me and my fiance are in a car, guess what? Our air mattress is coming with us, and our tent is coming with us. But if the situation doesn't call, if I can't get back to get my tent and my air mattress, guess what? I'm gone. I'm gonna survive out there on my own, because I know how to make a bed out of things out in the wild. I know how to make a house out of stuff in the wild. You know what I'm saying? But if I can't come back and get my bag, best believe I'll be hauling that thing around with me, because I can carry that thing. Even though it's heavy, I can carry it. You know, and me and my girl, we have a little tent out in the middle of the wild, surviving. But guys, it's getting bad out here. So this is why I'm making this video, to let you guys know, get those skills up. Get survival skills. Do not rely on staying in your house. Do not rely on the government. Because really, what this brother don't know is that when you stay in your house like this and you do everything that he's telling you to do, which is just build up your house and stay in your house, guess what? Your house is going to become your coffin. It's going to become your tomb. And you will die in there if you do not have the skills to survive. Anyways, guys, I've been talking to you guys long enough. That's all I have to say. I will talk to you guys later. Shalom and Yah bless.